Hello guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'll be predicting the Las Vegas Raiders 2021 NFL schedule. And if you didn't know already, I'm predicting each and every one of the NFL team schedules, starting with the AFC East, then the AFC North, then the AFC South, and now I'm on the AFC West. And if you want to check out all those videos, it's in the playlist right above in the description below and above in the right in the eye icon, so you can click it now. And yeah, let's get into it. So week 1, the Raiders are going to be playing the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams have improved, you could say. The Raiders, I don't think their free agency was as good as they hoped it to be. But the Ravens, they did make some good moves throughout the offseason. They did get a new receiver, which Lamar Jackson really needed. But they also lost a key O-lineman, Orlando Brown, and he was a Pro Bowl O-lineman, which was going to hurt the Ravens. But I think their O-line is good enough without him, so they're still going to be good to protect Lamar Jackson. But the Raiders O-line, I think it's like decent. They did lose Trent Brown, I think. I forgot if that was him, but they lost Trent Brown to the Patriots, and they lost a couple O-linemen. I see they traded away a few, and also they got an O-lineman in the draft. They got Vera Tucker as their first round pick, and he's a pretty good O-lineman, and I think he'll do pretty good this season. But who knows? It's hard to tell with the rookies, especially O-linemen. Some of them don't perform well in the first couple of seasons, but we'll see. And for the record of this game, I think the Ravens are still going to win, even though the offseason moves the Raiders made. I just feel like the Raiders' secondary and defense did not improve as much as Raiders fans hoped they did. I think both the Ravens, especially Lamar Jackson, who's a very good quarterback, will exploit that weakness, and he will use it, especially with this new receiving core. I think that will let them to win 30-20. All right, moving on to Week 2 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers, they have a very good defense, but the Raiders, on the other hand, have a very bad defense. So both teams also have a decent offense. The Steelers' offense, I think, is a little weaker because the Raiders do have some pretty big weapons on offense. They have Josh Jacobs, they have Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller, and Derek Carr is a pretty good quarterback. He's put up good stats last season. Even though their record wasn't the greatest, they still had an average season. But I still think the Steelers are going to win. I think even with all these super players, good players, superstars, I think the Steelers defense will be able to shut them down, hold the Raiders to 13 points, and I think they'll force a turnover or two, maybe a strip sack or a fumble on just Josh Jacobs, and that'll help turn over the momentum to the Steelers, and they'll get a couple touchdowns on the weak Raiders defense, and I think that'll allow them to win 21-13. It'll be a close game, but I think the Steelers will edge it out. Now, Week 3 versus the Miami Dolphins. I don't know about this game. The Dolphins, they are... Oh, sorry. I meant to put a loss for the Ravens game. I accidentally put a win. I don't know why. But the Dolphins, I was now talking about the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they are a good team, but a lot of their success last season happened when Ryan Fitzpatrick was there. Ryan Fitzpatrick did have to bail Tua out a couple times in the fourth quarter or towards the end of games. He did actually bail them out against the Raiders specifically. I remember he made that insane throw while being face masked. But I still think Tua is going to develop. He'll become if not, he might not become a great quarterback, but he'll become a good quarterback, or good enough to say. And this Dolphins defense is also pretty good, led by Xavier Howard, and I think that will allow them to win. I think Tua will have a good game against the Raiders, especially since their defense is weak, and I think the Dolphins defense is going to hold up against the Raiders and hold them to 10 points, and they'll win 21-10, sorry. Okay. Alright, so the Raiders are 0-3 for their first start, which is not very good. And next, they're going to have another game against their division rival, the Chargers. The Chargers are looking like a pretty good team this year. They have some new players and their old players, especially Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. They're a pretty good combo, and they have Mike Williams in the wide receiver core. So they have a pretty good combo, and like I said, this Raiders defense is ranked 7th worst last year, I think, by Pro Football Focus. I think that's what it is, PFF. And it was led up one of the most yards, and that basically cost them last season. They lost a couple close games because of their bad secondary. And I think this will cost them this game also. I think Justin Herbert's too much of a good quarterback to play against that kind of secondary. He'll dot them up. But I think the Raiders will also have a good game offensive-wise. I think they will also have a good game. I think Darren Waller have a good game, and Josh Jacobs, mainly because the Chargers D line is kind of weak except for the Bosa. But other than that, I still think the Chargers are going to outscore them. It's going to be an offensive battle, but I feel like the Chargers defense is better than the Raiders defense, so they'll hold them back a couple of drives, which was going to cost them the game. I say 35-20, Chargers win. All right, moving on to the game against the Bears. The Bears have a very strong defense, but their offense is not too great on the other hand. I mean, it's okay. I won't say it's bad, but I'll say it's average or decent. But their defense is looking pretty strong. They did lose a couple players. They lost, I think, Eddie Jackson and Kyle Fuller. But even though they lost them, they still have pretty good defense overall. And on the other hand, the offense, even if it's average, I think it can get past the Raiders secondary. I don't know about that because Andy Dalton probably will be starting still, and he's like a quarterback. I mean, he was good in like maybe 6, 7, 4 or 5 years ago, but now he's not that great. But I think even if he doesn't play so well, I think they have pretty good offensive weapons. Allen Robinson, David Montgomery, they're pretty good. And I think maybe they will help them get them the victory, but I don't know about this game because I think it'll come close, but I think that Bears are going to edge out this one. I'm going to go 28-21. Bears edge it out. Mainly because I think Andy Dalton will still clutch in the end. I meant to put a loss again. Alright, next versus the Denver Broncos. And here, I think the Raiders will get their first win of the season. The Broncos' offense is not very good, but their defense is good. So it's kind of opposite to the Raiders. Like, their Raiders' defense is bad, and their offense is pretty good. Well, their offense is okay, but still, you get what I'm saying. And I think this will be a high-scoring game. I think the Broncos' defense is going to have a bad game, holding off the good Raiders' wide receiver core and running back core. Because they have Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, Waller. And even though the Broncos secondary is still very good, I think they're going to have an off game. I think it's going to be high scoring though. I think even though Drew Lock and the Broncos offense is not the greatest, I think they'll have a good game against the Raiders secondary, which I said is pretty lacking. I know I'm going to keep repeating that, but like that's one of the biggest point of the Raiders season. This is why they did not so bad last year, but this is why they didn't make the playoffs last year. Their secondary was not very good at all. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Raiders are actually going to win this one. I think they'll win by a field goal. Final score, 30-27. Raiders win. Now, they have their bye week. Oh, no. It's week 7. Sorry. Week 7 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they'll win this one also. I think the Raiders secondary is finally going to have a good game. Even though, like, Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor, they're still pretty good offense. I just feel like the Philadelphia offensive line is not very great. I think even the Raiders defensive line, they have okay, average, maybe below average defensive line, but I still think they're going to have a good game. They're going to blitz in a lot. They're going to sack Jalen Hurts a couple times, maybe force a couple fumbles, force bad throws, and I think that'll give them momentum for the offense. Off turnovers, they're going to get a lot of points. I think the Raiders are going to win a sort of blowout. I have them winning 28-10. Alright, now it's their bye week, and they have a record of 2-5, so not the greatest record, but they also had pretty tough competition. They played like 2 playoff teams and like 3 playoff teams and 1 almost playoff teams. The Dolphins barely missed the playoffs, so they had a pretty hard start of the season, but now their schedule looks a little easier at some points towards the end. So yeah. Now, after their bye week, they're playing the New York Giants. And I think this is going to be a really close game. I think the Giants and Eagles have a similar story, but I believe the Giants' defense is significantly better than the Eagles' defense. I feel like the Giants' defense helped them win lots of games last year. So that's the reason I'm going to give them the W. I think it's going to be a really close game. This game could go either way in my opinion, but I feel like even though Daniel Jones doesn't perform so well, I think Saquon will have a good game, and I feel like the Giants' defense is going to really step up and allow them to win. And I think the Raiders then will lose. Let's see, 17-14. Sort of low-scoring game. Alright, now they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm actually going to have an upset here. I'm going to have the Raiders beating the Chiefs. They did this last season, and I think they'll be able to do it this season. Like, even though the secondary is not the greatest, last year the secondary was the greatest and they still won. I think Mahomes is going to have an off game against the Raiders because last year the Raiders came close to beating them twice. The second time they almost won, but they lost in like the last minute or something. So they're always competitive against the Chiefs. I think division upsets are more likely to happen. I think the Raiders will win this one. It'll still be a close matchup. It'll be a tight game, but I feel like the Raiders' offense is going to carry them throughout this game. It's going to be a high-scoring battle. But in the very end, I feel like the Raiders' defense will just do just enough to hold Mahomes off and get them the W. I have the Raiders winning 38-34. All right, now they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, and I have their first win streak of the season, and I have them beating the Bengals of the score 28-20. I just feel like the Bengals offense, it's not the great. It's okay now with the additions, but their defense is also pretty bad. I feel like it's like almost ranked close to the Raiders, but I feel like the Raiders offense is better than the Bengals because even though like the Bengals had Joe Burrow, they had Jamar Chase, but now they lost. They didn't lose anyone, but they don't have as good as O-line as the Raiders. And Joe Mixon, he's been kind of iffy lately. He does play good, but he's also been injured a lot of times. So he's kind of injury prone, so no one knows like what will happen to him about that. And I think the Raiders will edge the Bengals out in this one in a more offensive style game. I think they'll win 28-20. I think the Raiders get the final drive and they'll be able to score. Alright, now they're playing the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys are kind of like the Raiders. Like, they have a goodish offense, but a really bad defense. And I think this will give me an offensive battle again. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb versus Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, and Derek Carr. This seems like a good matchup to watch. You know, that's not the most like big name teams. I know the Cowboys are big, but recently they haven't been good. And that's not the best teams. But I feel like this will be a pretty good matchup to watch because there'll be a lot of offense, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of points. This will be a fun game in my opinion. And I think the Cowboys are actually going to win this though. Like I said for some other games, this could go either way, but I just feel like the Cowboys offense is better, and I feel like their defense is a little better also, especially with their new additions. And they have more stars on defense. Like they have a couple of names like DeMarcus Lawrence, Vander Esch, and Micah Parsons, their new linebacker. While in the Raiders, on the other hand, they only have a couple of mediocre players that could really stand out. So I feel like that will help them win the game also. But I have a final score of 31-28. Cowboys win. Alright, now they're playing another NFC East team, the Washington football team. But the football team defense is pretty strong. And their offense, it didn't look too bad in their preseason game. Plus, they also have Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you know, he's either plays really good or plays really bad. I feel like he's going to play good this game. And they have a couple offensive stars also. They have Gibson, they have Terry McLaurin. He really proved himself last year in a pretty good season. And I feel like with Fitzpatrick, this team could either do good and win this division or play really bad and be mediocre like previous seasons and go like 4-12 or like 3-13. Or something like that. But I feel like this season they're gonna have a similar season like last year, but I think they might do a little better also. But they will win this game because of that. I feel like it's gonna be a 2-possession game-ish. I think the Raiders will come close in this game, but towards the end I feel like the football team defense will lock them down and force them to make a couple of turnovers or like fail on 4th down and basically seal the game. I have a final score 24-13. Now their rematch with the Chiefs. I think this time, even though I said they come close most times, I think this time they're not going to have a great game. I feel like now, after like having weeks to prepare and like scouting, I think Mahomes is just going to destroy the Raiders defense, and the Raiders offense will have a lot of touchdowns, have a lot of scoring, but I don't think they'll be able to outscore Mahomes this time. I have another high scoring game, but this time the Chiefs are going to win. And it's not going to be like too close, but it'll still be entertaining to watch. I have a final score of 41-33. Oh no, sorry, 41-23. Alright, now they're playing the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns, like, they have a good team this year, in my opinion. I know some people think they're overrated. They just had one good season in a bunch of years. But I think people are just like that because I guess they don't trust the Browns. But I feel like that's a valid point since they had a couple high points in their previous 20 years, but they choked a lot of times, so who knows. But I feel like the Browns are finally going to become a decent team, and they're going to win games, and I feel like they're going to win this game against the Raiders also. I just don't think the Raiders defense is going to be able to stop OBJ, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, especially that running back core for the Browns, very solid. I don't think their D-line is going to be able to stop the Browns O-line, which is also really good. And on offense, I think the Raiders are going to do okay, but the Browns defense is actually kind of decent. And I feel like towards the end of the season, with morale low, I don't think this team's going to be playing as great as they could earlier in the season when they had the chance to make the playoffs. But I have a final score of 27-16, Browns win. Now, they're having a rematch versus the Denver Broncos, and I think this time they're going to lose. Last time I said it could go either way. It was a close game. But this time, I have a close game also, but more on the lower scoring side. I just feel like this time the defense is going to play a little better. I know the Raiders defense, I said it was pretty bad, but like even a bad defense can have a decent or okay game every once in a while. But I think it's not going to be enough, but I still think it's going to be close for the Raiders, but I don't think it's enough to get the win. I had them losing 21-13. And now they're playing the Indianapolis Colts in Week 17, and I feel like they're just going to get blown out this game. The Colts defense, I think they'll be able to lock down the Raiders offense, and I think even though the Colts offense isn't like too insane, I still think they'll be able to easily get past the Raiders secondary and defense and linebacker core. I think they'll win 35-14. I think who's that guy's name? Carson Wentz was going to have a good game, and I think maybe Michael Pittman and their other receivers, T.Y. Hilton's going to have a good game also. I have a final score of 35-14, Raiders lose. In the final game of the season versus the Los Angeles Chargers, I have this time the Raiders winning. I know last time I said Justin Herbert's going to be elite. He's too good of a quarterback, too much of an elite quarterback to be fooled by the Raiders secondary and not do good against him. I think he'll still have a good game, but I think the Chargers defense is going to sell this game. I think Raiders offense is going to do good well this game. They're going to work together well. They're going to be able to get the victory, and the Raiders defense will hold on in the end to get the dub. I have a 24-21 victory. Maybe sort of like I feel like the Raiders defense will actually step up this game, being their last game. Maybe they'll do something, but also they won't have a good season overall. And again, probably one of the main reasons why they didn't do so good this year. And I think Derek Carr, he'll have a decent season overall, but like I don't know like what they're gonna do with him since he's kind of old, but he's still doing pretty good. So I think they're gonna have to focus on their defense more next season. They should have done this season, but I don't know if John Gruden would. In my scenario, if this actually happened, I think John Gruden would be fired after this because he's had a couple of letdown seasons. He hasn't made the playoffs yet either, so not good. Looking good for him and the Raiders. I had the Raiders having a final record of 1 win, 2 win, 3 win, 4 win, 5 wins. Is that right? Oh yeah, sorry, I can't count for a second. 5 wins. I thought I had them having 6 wins, or maybe I just forgot. So yeah, the Raiders went 5-12, I believe. So not looking too great for them. I don't think they'll be a good team this year. In previous years, they were a contender, but now I don't think they're no longer one. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Remember to check out the rest of my videos down below in the description. And remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.